everyone, welcome to Crime Chatter. It's Joyce here. Today we're going to be doing a video on the Cox family. In this video we will introduce Lori Vallow Daybell's father, mother, siblings, and niece to you. But before we start, if you would like to be a part of the amazing Crime Chatter community, please hit the subscribe button below. And also, make sure that you hit that notification bell to all. Please like our videos if you support them, and please share them whenever you can. Okay, let's chat. So this picture is of the Cox family. You will see Lori Vallow Daybell Cox in the upper left-hand corner. This includes her parents, two of her brothers and two of her sisters, her niece Melanie, and her sister Staci's husband. So let's talk about who's who in the photograph. The bottom left-hand corner is Mother Janice. Diagonal up to her right is Lori's father, Barry Cox. Directly behind him is Alex Cox. Down at the bottom, the baby is Melanie Boudreaux Pulowski. Holding her would be her mother, Staci Cox Cope. Directly behind her would be her husband at the time, Steve Cope. Then directly beside Staci would be Summer Shiflett, sister. And directly behind her would be Lori's brother, Adam Cox. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we know about each of these individuals. Just a quick overview of what I know about them. I've been following the case since very early on and have learned a lot about these folks over the time. So first of all, what I find very interesting is Janice and Barry, who have been married for a very long time. They married in 1965. They actually have 4 children together, which you've just learned all of their names. As far as we know, Janice is a homemaker, and Barry has had some interesting dealings in his life that have kind of left us unclear about what he does for a career. He has at some point had some litigation against him for using Esquire at the end of his name and drawing up some legal documents. He did receive a cease and desist, from the state for doing so. He also has had some litigation with the Internal Revenue Service, where he claims that he's exempt from paying income tax and so forth. Some folks that have read through those documents have some curiosity behind the fact that maybe they consider themselves along the lines of a sovereign citizen or something of that sort. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what a sovereign citizen is, I'll drop a link to some information below the video. Also, if I will drop those court documents that I've seen. Some of the claims in the court documents are pretty bizarre, so I think it might give some folks some insight to go through some of those and see that. So let's talk about what we know about Janice Cox. We know that Janice has been with her husband for a long time. They had 5 children together, 3 of which are living today, 2 are which now deceased, which we know was Staci, Melanie Boudreaux's Pulowski's mother. She died years ago due to issues with diabetes, etc. Also, we know that Alex Cox passed away, and we'll learn a little bit more about Alex moving forward. He is pictured in this picture of the Cox family, which is much newer than the one we started the video with. You'll see Barry, Janice, Summer, Alex, Adam, and Lori. So we also know that Janice appeared on Dr. Phil. And one of the things that's been discussed many times about Janice is the fact that on that appearance on Dr. Phil, she claimed to have talked to JJ on October 1st, which we now know was very likely untrue. So the question is, was Janice lying to cover up for Lori during the Dr. Phil interview, or was she actually just confused for some reason? Apparently, at some point it was reported that she had even showed a phone bill to prove that that conversation happened. So we shall see how that plays out in the court case as everything is unfolding, but that's what we know about Janice. Next, we're going to move on to Summer Coxs Shiflett, which is Lori's sister, aunt to Ty Lee, and to JJ. What we wanted to talk about, Summer, she also, of course, appeared on Dr. Phil with her mother, where she went on to adamantly defend Lori, and to just say lots of things, such as she's invested her whole life in those children. So we know there's a whole other side to this, and we don't know what it is, but we know her, speaking a lot of confidence in Lori. I find some things about Summer to um, be a little creepy, if I can say that. One of the things is that she is a supporter of Jason Mao. We have some clip here from Facebook where we see that she's pushing his book. If you're following this case, you know who Jason Mao is. He has some suspicion behind helping Lori pull off Charles Vallow's murder, and so we know who he is. There's a lot of other things about him that are questionable, and that have led us to just question his whole character. But one thing about Summer is we know that she's also Mormon. The entire family grew up Mormon. So it's not unusual that she has these beliefs, but um, the fact that she's talking about Jason Mount on her Facebook did creep me out just a little. Another thing is that Summer and her husband made the light and dark list, which was something that Chad Daybell completed for Lori if you're following the case. Um, if not, you can Google any article, East Idaho News. Many of them covered this. This one happens to be Fox 10 Phoenix that I'm showing here, which is Justin Lum. Shout out to Justin, great reporter. Anyway, this came out, and we know that we're still working through what this reads, but what I found very interesting was how they read the husband of Summer, which was that he was light but could be dark. So that makes you wonder what the plans were there for him. So this is Summer. I'm sure maybe we'll find out some more about her in the future. She is married. Her husband is a chiropractor. I have read some things online that his business is suffering because of this case, which we can only imagine. But time is limited here, so we're going to move past Summer, but we will revisit her in the future. Now we're going to talk about Alex Coxs, who is a huge player in this whole debacle. He is a former truck driver. He also was a former comedian. He also now has been titled as a possible murderer in this case. Alex is a very interesting character. As again, he did spend some jail time for an assault on Lori's previous husband, Joseph Ryan, which is the father of Tylee. Joseph is now deceased and has been for some time, but they possibly are reopening an investigation into his death. Alex actually jokes about this in his stand-up comedy routine, which is rather disturbing. You can actually find it out on YouTube. I will go ahead and make a note to drop that link in the notes below so you can go over and view that. It's pretty bizarre. The guy's sense of humor and him talking about all of this in the stand-up comedy and knowing how his life turned out and the amount of blood that's on his hands. He did go on to murder, um, and one of the big questions we have is, did he murder Tylee and JJ? This is the picture that was taken into Yellowstone early on in the case that made everyone wonder if possibly he had murdered them and done away with their bodies at Yellowstone, and there was a lot of curiosity behind that, which we now know that the bodies were located on the Daybell property. But this is a really chilling photo of the children with their uncle Alex, Lori's brother, who we believe played a big part in these children now being deceased. His cell phone was pinged at the property where they were buried, which led FBI to discover their remains. We are thankful they were found, but now what is happening is we are waiting for some murder charges, some justice for Charles Vallow to come along. He was murdered by Alex, which Alex claims to be self-defense. Alex was never brought to charges on any of this prior to him passing. So the FBI and the police and Gilbert are all doing their work to help us get some resolution for the Charles Vallow family. Alex, there is the entire footage of the police cam of the day that he shot Charles, his interview and so forth. I think it was pretty mishandled. Alex never saw cuffs. I don't think there was a proper line of questioning, and I think there are many folks that agree, and I think that probably there will be some litigation in the future by Charles' family with the police there in Arizona for their handling of his, what we now pretty much presume was a murder. We're waiting for those charges. We pray every day that they come for Charles, but they're not here yet. So everyone stay tuned for that, but please go ahead and go out to YouTube. You can look for the Alex Coxs interview or footage from the day that Charles Vallow was murdered. You will see that and you'll be able to watch that. Please leave your opinions and comments below in the video and let me know what you think. Maybe you all have a different view of Alex. Alex also did pass away, and we know this. We do have a coroner's report for him, and so we wanted to possibly revisit that. There's some suspicion about how Alex died. We're not sure if anybody's revisiting that coroner's report or not. We know that he did remarry shortly before his death to a woman named Zalima. To finish up this video, we're going to talk about Staci. Staci is Lori's sister. I mentioned her previously. She is deceased. She was the mother of Melanie Boudreaux-Pulaski, and we don't know much about Staci other than that she's Melanie's mother and that she passed away due to some issues that she had with being a diabetic. The last sibling that we're going to talk about is Adam. Adam is a radio disc jockey. We know that he is not deeply involved in the case. However, he was mentioned by Lori whenever the Rexburg, Idaho police questioned her about where JJ was. She stated that her brother Adam was working with Charles to have her murdered for a $2 million life insurance policy. We do know that Charles had emailed Adam letting him know that there was something funny going on with her and Chad. So hopefully we will see more from Adam when it comes to Lori's trial. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and comment on our video.